Have you ever sat across from someone, their words sharp with blame, and felt a quiet dissonance, like a song played just off key? Picture a bustling cafe, the air thick with the aroma of fresh coffee, steam, curling from mugs like morning mist. At a corner table, a woman, let's call her Emma, 32 years old, leans forward, her voice tight with frustration. Her boss, her ex, the world itself, is at fault for her latest misfortune, she insists. Her eyes flicker with indignation, dodging any hint of self-reflection. You nod politely, but a question lingers, heavy and unspoken. It's not just Emma's complaints. It's the way she clings to excuses, expecting life to bend to her will. You've seen this before, haven't you? In a friend, a co-worker, maybe even a fleeting glimpse in yourself. It's a pattern, a shadow that doesn't quite fit. And it's not a quirk, it's a cage. This isn't about judgment, it's about seeing clearly. Immaturity isn't a fleeting phase for some women. It's a fortress, built brick by brick from fear. Emma's story feels like one I've heard 100 times. Each version a little different, but achingly familiar. She grew up in a quiet suburb, the youngest of four, always the little princess of the family. Her father fixed every scraped knee, every failed test, while her mother cooed over her delicate charm. Now, at 32, Emma still waits for someone to rescue her, her voice rising in a childish whine when life refuses to comply. But the world isn't her father, and reality doesn't bow to tears. If you've ever been tangled in the games of someone like Emma, their manipulations, their refusal to own their choices, you know the cost. Immaturity isn't harmless, it's a prison, locking not just the one inside, but everyone around them. Let me share another story, one that hit me hard. There's Olivia, 29, a friend of Emma's, who I met at a dimly lit wine bar one evening. Over the clink of glasses, Olivia confessed something raw. As a child, she learned that tears could hush her parents' fights. A single sob, and her father would scoop her up, the argument forgotten. Now, Olivia cries when her partner disagrees with her, not from hurt, but from instinct. It's a shield, a way to sidestep conflict. "Society wants me to be soft," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "So why fight it?" But her eyes told a different story. A flicker of doubt, a longing to break free. Olivia's tears, like Emma's complaints, are a reflex, rooted in a fear so deep it's almost invisible. This is where Carl Jung steps in. His archetypes like lanterns in the dark. The girl, the princess, the sorceress. Each is a stage of the psyche, a step toward wisdom. But when fear stalls the journey, a woman remains trapped, playing a role that no longer fits. Why does Emma, at 32, act like a teenager? Why do some women cling to childish dreams, expecting the world to cradle them? The answer isn't simple. It's woven into the psyche, into society itself. The world paints women as delicate, pure, emotionally divine. But the female psyche, like any other, is a mosaic of light and shadow. Those shadows, cloaked in sweetness or fragility, can hold a woman captive, not because she's weak, but because she's been taught to fear the alternative. This is our starting point, a question that hums beneath the surface. What keeps some women locked in this cycle, and what does it cost them? Imagine a theater, the stage bathed in a single golden spotlight, where a woman moves through roles she never chose. Jung's archetypes, the girl, the princess, the sorceress, are like costumes, each a phase of growth. But when the curtain should rise on the next act, Some stay frozen, clutching a script that no longer serves. Let's meet these archetypes through women whose stories light up the trap of immaturity. There's Chloe, 27, the eternal girl. Her apartment is a pastel dream. Plush toys spilling across the bed, fairy lights twinkling like a summer night. Chloe giggles through serious talks, her voice light as a child's, as if life is a game of pretend. Growing up, she was the family's darling, her wide-eyed charm a shield against consequences. Her older sister covered her mistakes, from forgotten chores to crashed cars. Now, at 27, Chloe expects her friends, her boyfriend, even her co-workers to play that role. When her manager critiques her work, Chloe's lip quivers, her eyes brimming. "It's not fair," she murmurs, as if fairness is a contract life signed. Chloe's fragility isn't just a habit, it's a tool, wielded to dodge accountability. But in the quiet of her room, when the lights dim, Chloe feels a hollow ache. Why do her dreams of a career, a lasting love, slip away like mist? Then there's Isabella, 35, the princess. Isabella enters rooms like a queen, her laughter bright but edged with expectation. She grew up on fairy tales, believing she was destined for a life of ease. Her mother, a weary nurse, worked double shifts but told Isabella she was meant for more, special without effort. Now, Isabella expects love, success, even friendships to arrive gift-wrapped. When her freelance business collapsed last year, she didn't question her lack of strategy. She fumed at her clients, her partners, the market itself. "They failed me," she told me over tea, her perfectly painted nails drumming the table. Isabella's entitlement isn't just immaturity, it's a demand that the world kneel. Yet in still moments, she feels betrayed, as if life broke a vow she never examined. And then there's Sophia, 40, the sorceress. Sophia's presence is electric, her smile a spell that bends others to her will. As a teenager, she learned that charm could erase trouble. Her laughter disarmed teachers. Her flirtations softened punishments. Now, Sophia wields seduction and subtle manipulation to navigate life. At work, she sparks rivalries among colleagues, thriving in the chaos. In love, she seeks control, not connection, weaving webs that ensnare her partners. I once saw Sophia at a gallery opening, her eyes gleaming as she turned a casual debate into a drama, leaving everyone else to untangle the mess. But Sophia's power is fragile. Her friendships fade, her lovers grow wary. She's built a palace of mirrors, reflecting only her own desires. These women, Chloe, Isabella, Sophia, aren't villains. They're shaped by a society that rewards fragility, that whispers it's okay to stay small. Chloe's tears, Isabella's demands, Sophia's games, their defenses against a world that feels too vast, too harsh. But the price is steep. Dreams deferred, relationships frayed, a life half-lived. Their stories beg the question, what roots this cage and how deep do they run? Picture a garden, wild and overgrown, where the roots of immaturity twist deep into the earth. This isn't just a personal flaw, it's a trap, centuries old, woven into the fabric of society. Imagine a girl, let's call her Grace, 10 years old, sitting at a worn kitchen table in 1995. Her mother brushes her hair, murmuring, "Be gentle, and the world will care for you." Her father, a gruff mechanic, fixes her broken dolls, saying, "Don't fret, I've got this." Fast forward to today. Grace, now 42, still waits for someone to mend her life, her heart sinking when reality stands firm. Female immaturity isn't a coincidence. It's a script written when survival meant dependence. For centuries, women had little power over their fates. Their value lay in being pleasing, fragile, in need of protection. Fragility wasn't a weakness, it was a strategy. Tears could soften a stern father. Charm could secure a provider. The girl, the princess, the sorceress, these weren't just roles. They were tools, passed down like recipes. I met Grace at a community workshop, her voice soft but heavy with regret. She shared how, at 20, she married a man who promised to handle everything. When he left, she was adrift. Not from love, but from never learning to stand alone. Society had taught Grace that vulnerability was her strength, that drama was her voice. But when her second marriage fell apart, Grace began to question the script. "Why do I keep waiting for a savior?" she asked, her hands clutching a crumpled napkin. Grace's story is an echo, repeated across countless lives, caught in a cycle they didn't design. This cycle is fed daily. Films glorify the damsel, social media praises the victim. When Chloe cries at work, her boss relents. When Isabella demands attention, someone always listens. But this is a trap. It keeps women dependent, searching for a rescuer who never arrives. And when reality strikes, when jobs vanish, relationships crumble, these women feel betrayed, not by others, but by a world that no longer plays by the old rules. The roots of immaturity run deep. But what happens when someone dares to pull them up? Imagine a woman at a crossroads, the wind sharp against her cheeks, one path soft and familiar, the other rough and unknown. This is where maturity begins, not with ease, but with courage. Let's meet Harper, 38, who chose the harder road. Harper was once like Emma, expecting life to cater to her whims. Her beauty opened doors, her charm smoothed conflicts. But at 30, after a string of broken relationships and a stalled career, Harper faced a truth. Her immaturity was her chains. Harper's awakening came on a stormy night, alone in her car, the radio humming softly. She'd just lost a job, blaming her team, her manager, even the rain. But as the drops streaked the windshield, Harper saw her reflection. Not the girl she played, but a woman who'd been hiding. She started therapy, scribbled her fears in a notebook, and took small, terrifying steps toward accountability. When her next relationship faltered, she didn't manipulate or cry. She listened, reflected, and owned her role. Harper's growth wasn't easy. Friends called her distant when she stopped playing the victim. Her family, used to her fragility, said she'd hardened. Society, it seems, isn't ready for a woman who doesn't need saving. I saw Harper at a book launch last year, her smile steady, her eyes bright. She'd started a small nonprofit, shaky but growing. "It's lonely sometimes," she admitted, "but I'd rather be free than safe." Harper's story reveals the paradox of maturity. It's freeing, but it's heavy. It means letting go of the girl who felt special, the princess who demanded worship, the sorceress who craved control. It means standing bare before reality, owning every choice, every misstep. For every Harper, there are countless Emmas, Chloes, and Isabellas clinging to immaturity because it's comfortable, socially approved. But comfort is a lie. It's a cage that tightens with time. The question lingers. What happens when immaturity festers? When it turns from refuge to ruin? There's a shadow to immaturity we rarely name, a poison that seeps into lives like smoke. It's not just a personal loss. It's a force that destroys. Meet Vivian, 45, whose immaturity became a weapon. Vivian learned young that drama got results. As a teen, she'd slam doors during arguments, knowing her parents would follow. Now, Vivian uses tears, tantrums, and calculated victimhood to bend others to her will. At work, she pits colleagues against each other. In relationships, she thrives on chaos. I once watched Vivian at a family gathering, her voice rising as she blamed her ex for her loneliness, ignoring how she'd pushed him away with endless demands. Vivian's immaturity isn't fragility, it's power, sharpened over decades. Society enables it, excusing her outbursts as just how women are. But this power is fleeting. Vivian's friendships are thin, her relationships brittle, her co-workers distrust her, her family treads lightly. Immaturity has a shelf life. When the world stops indulging it, when partners leave, friends fade, opportunities vanish, Vivian's left with bitterness. She doesn't reflect. She lashes out, blaming everyone but herself. This is immaturity's darkest face. Sabotage. It's the woman who manipulates because growth feels like defeat. It's the friend who betrays because accountability terrifies her. It's the partner who destroys because control is all she knows. I knew a woman, Evelyn, 50, who lived as a victim. When her children grew distant, she didn't ask why. She accused them of abandonment. Evelyn's resentment consumed her, a life lost to a script she never challenged. Immaturity's poison erodes dreams, breaks bonds, and leaves only regret. And when the game ends, when the world no longer plays along, what remains? The question haunts me. How many women choose this path, not from malice, but from fear? And how many will dare to choose differently? Now, stand before a mirror, its surface cold and unflinching, reflecting not just your face, but your choices. This is the final truth about immaturity. It's not destiny, it's a decision. Every woman, at some point, faces this mirror, choosing whether to cling to the familiar or step into the unknown. Let's meet Nora, 33, who stood at this crossroads and chose to see herself clearly. Nora grew up in a house of turmoil. Her mother, a sorceress who wielded drama like a whip. As a child, Nora copied her, learning that tantrums could shift focus, that tears could rewrite truth. By 25, Nora was a master of manipulation, her charm a mask for insecurity. But one night, at a friend's wedding, Nora saw something that broke her open. The bride, a woman named Lila, 35, spoke of her journey, not as a princess or a girl, but as a woman who'd faced her fears, owned her mistakes, and built a life of quiet strength. Nora, clutching a glass of champagne, felt a stab of envy, not for Lila's happiness, but for her freedom. That night, Nora began to change. She joined a poetry workshop, spilling her fears onto the page. She apologized to friends she'd hurt, her voice trembling but honest. She took a job she wasn't ready for, stumbling but growing. Each step was a fight against the girl inside her, the one who whispered that fragility was safer. Nora's mother mocked her, calling her too serious. Her old friends drifted away, uneasy with her honesty. But Nora kept going, building a life not on games, but on truth. Nora's story isn't a fairy tale. It's a testament to choice. Maturity isn't a prize. It's a labor, a daily decision to face fear, to own your shadows, to shed the roles that no longer fit. This choice isn't just personal, It's a wave that reshapes the world. A mature woman, grounded in her strength, challenges a society built on fragility. She builds relationships on trust, not drama. She pursues dreams with grit, not entitlement. She becomes her own authority, not a piece in someone else's game. The mirror waits, patient and unrelenting, asking, "Will you choose to wake up?" And for those who do, the path is steep, but the view, oh, the view, is worth every step.